Hey everybody, this is Captain Frugal giving you my weekly comic book review for September 20th, 2023, and make sure you stick to the end where I give you my number one pick. And will you agree or will you not? We'll see. All right, thank you everybody for that has been joining the channel. We greatly appreciate you, as well as everybody that's been sticking with the channel, as well as people that have been contributing to the channel. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. So with that said, we're going to jump in. And what I do, you're going to hear my notes there. I give you the comic books that I've read this week and my views on them, as well as the League of Comics Geeks. So you get another take on it too, to see where maybe we have a disagreement, where we agree or disagree. Nonetheless, you're going to see what my views are on those things. And I'm going to give you my number one pick, and it's a close one this week. So my first one I want to talk about is Batman, Superman, World's Finest, number 19. A series that's continued to be good. League of Comics Geeks said 190 out of 203 liked it, with a 4 average rating. I gave this book a 7.4, so not quite as high as they did. I thought the book had decent art, and the ending of the story was the beginning of another. So it's interesting. It's going to be an interesting lead into something else. And the series still is good. So my hat goes off to the writer Mark Waid and artist Travis Moore on this book. The origin of the World's Finest team concludes. What, of all things, could tie the Riddler and the Phantom Zone together? And what secrets will the Dark Knight and the Man of Steel learn about one another that will define their friendship? All this and a lead into an upcoming event set in the present day. And I'm looking forward to that, to see where this goes, because this series has not disappointed me. If you've been reading it, I'd be interested to know what your thoughts are. Everybody I've talked to so far has been finding this to be a good one, and I hope it still will maintain that way. Now, the next one I read was Dawn of DC Green Lantern War Journal number 1. Writer was Philip Kennedy. Artist is Montos. Once again, if you're not familiar with me, I butcher all names. I don't mean any rudeness by that. Well, anyway, League of Comics Geeks said 129 out of 132 liked it, with a 4.3 average rating, so it's off to a strong start. We get John Stewart back in this issue. I gave it a 7.5. I thought John Stewart lays the smackdown in this issue on somebody's really cool. It's a good story. I think it has a really sweet, loving touch with John Stewart's mother and him. And to be fair, this one really hits home for me from some of my past experience with family members. And so I know what that's like to go through, and it's pretty tough. And so the writer really did a good job, I think, of putting that in there in a loving way. And it's a decent art in this book, and the story, I think, is off to a good start. So anyway, John Stewart returns in an epic new series. Yes, John Stewart's time as Green Lantern has come to an end, or so he thinks. A family tragedy calls him back home, and as John begins to reclaim the career he once left behind, he tries to embrace a peaceful post-superhero life. But when a terrifying and contagious force with a mysterious connection to appears on Earth, the last Green Lantern of another universe comes seeking the only warrior to face this threat and win. You know, I get it. I get a lot of ties to this issue. I really do. Having a career earlier in my life in front of the public a lot, and you get a lot of amped up excitement. I mean that from my stage career of jamming in bands and things like that, and getting to opens for some national acts and things like that. It was, you know, it brings a lot of adrenaline, and John Stewart's dealing with this coming down of what he was used to doing, what he was known to do, and the excitement and settling down. But he realizes the value of that too, as he's taking care of his mother and the hardship behind it. I think it's off to a good start. It's a good series so far. I'm definitely interested in issue number 2. The next issue I read was Nightwing number 106. 161 out of 177 liked it on League of Comics Geeks, where I gave it a 7, a dead average, so not too far off from this. The writer's Tom Taylor and artist is Stephen Byrne. Nightwing goes nautical. Sail the high seas with Nightwing and Batgirl as they journey across the ocean to search of the old secret society that dates back to when Bloodhaven was founded. It's an interesting issue here to figure out what he put in there, in this box, if you will. What's in the box, right? It's decent art. The story is okay. And to be fair, though, I'd be more than happy to keep Rick in the past. I'm not a fan of that whole Rick story, so they're digging it up a little bit. I'm not a big fan of that, but hey, if we keep it in the past, maybe that'll be okay. That's my thoughts on that. The second story makes me really, I have to say, it makes me really miss the Stephanie and Tim Drake relationship. I give this book a 7 out of 10. As I said, man, I don't know about you, Stephanie and Tim Drake were one of the best relationships in DC, lasted a long time. The reason of ruining that was just ridiculous. It was a big mistake in my opinion. The next issue I want to review is Superman number 6, The Chained, Part 1. 211 out of 214 liked it with a 4.2 average rating on League of Comics Geeks, and I gave it a 7.3. That was a good book, maybe not quite as high as they did. The creators are the writer Joshua Williamson, artist Gleb Melnikov. There we go. I'm trying. A new story arc starts here, so if you didn't get the first story arc of this Superman series, it might be time to jump in if you've been wanting some Superman. Okay, because we get some interesting things here. Superman has learned that Lex Luthor kept a prisoner beneath Stryker's Island for decades. Why? Who is it? Why do they lock him up? Well, it's time to find out with this issue, and I'm interested to see where this is going to continue. It's an interesting story. The art I thought was decent, nothing super spectacular. And I don't know, for some reason when I read this issue, I feel like I need to listen to Van Halen's Unchained. I think it just fits this. It just is. Got a few more to go before we get to my number 1 issue, so stick with it. By the way, if you want to help out the channel, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We have a Patreon, subscribe star, or even one-time donation with Streamlabs down below. Or sometimes I'll also put some affiliate links to Amazon that help throw a couple cents into my pot, if you will, if you ever use Amazon to buy anything. But that's okay if you don't too, because we're here for the community. The next issue I read was Titans number 3, written by Tom Taylor and artist Nicholas Scott. Sorry, I butchered her name. 141 out of 166 liked it with a 3.6 average rating, and I gave it a 7, so we're pretty close on to that. And anyway, from superstar writer Tom Taylor, it says here, I wouldn't go that far by any means, that's for sure. All hail the Church of Blood, though, with their newest leader, Brother Eternity, going public with a former Titan as part of his flock. The church has more followers than ever before. Do the Titans stand a chance of influencing the people of the world to fight brainwashing and prepare for the large intergalactic threat looming on the horizon? You know, it's a decent story. It's decent art. But I will say the last page of this issue was gross. Last issue, just plain gross. That's, I think, the issue with this series so far. It's just okay on every level. Nothing really great. All right, the next issue, which I almost skipped. I almost decided to skip this series, but I decided, you know what, I'm going to stick with it a little while longer and see what happens. And that's the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 34. 111 out of 128 liked on League of Comics Geeks with a 3.8 average rating. Zeb Wells is the writer. The artist is Patrick Gleason. Spider-Man hunt continues. Who is Peter's next victim? Yeah, because Peter Parker's been sort of infected with the wrongs, I guess, if you will, of the Green Goblin, and it's making him go on a violent rampage against the people that have wronged him. I gave it a 7. I didn't think it was anything great. It's decent art. The story is, once again, okay. The one thing I have to wonder, is it really bad that I want Peter to take out MJ's boyfriend? I mean, this is an opportunity. Get rid of that guy. But I guess that makes me a bad person, right? The only thing I can see as a positive on this is take that guy out, which is probably not going to happen, but it is what it is. I'd like to see him gone. What about you? Would you like to see that character gone? I'm down to 3 issues, so we're almost to my number 1. The next one I want to talk about is not necessarily number 3. I'm leaving the top 2 for the end. Here's how I'm going to do it. And by the way, when I do these, I don't get to read every issue due to cost and more of anything too, as well as time. There's only so many hours in a day, and sometimes I have a real hard time getting to all these, especially lately, and I'm a little under the weather right now and everything's been breaking. With that said, I've read Deadpool, Batter Blood, number 4. 15 out of 16 liked it with a 3.9 average rating, which leads me to believe not a lot of people are picking this up. I gave it a 7, so nothing super spectacular. The story and artist is by Rob Liefeld, and as well as written by Chad Bowers. We have a battle royal here. Has Wade Wilson met his match with Venom Pool and Thumper? I just don't care about those characters. Can Deadpool survive the depth of Killville? I don't care about Killville, to be honest with you. Even with Wolverine and Spider-Man by his side, yeah, we do get Spider-Man toward the end of this one, so that's a little bit interesting. The art was not bad in this. I think Rob Liefeld picked it up a bit here. I'm going to give him some credit on that, but it's decent art. There is a lot of action, so if you like action, we got that. It's a decent story, but nothing really that special. And it is sort of cool that we get Spider-Man at the end. I do dig that. So that's the thing there. It's, once again, just okay. I think if we're going to get something like this, we need to, if it's like a special mini-series, especially when the character's already got a series going, you have to do something to really step up the game. All right, my number 2. This ended up being my number 2, so bear with me in mind there. And that was the Uncanny Avengers number 2. Yeah, 2 for 2. 78 out of 81 liked it on League of Comics Geeks with a 3.9. Jerry Duggan is the writer, artist Xavier Guerin, and I gave this one 7.8. Yeah, this is a miniseries, part 2 of 5. I thought the art was okay. I think where it really excels is the dysfunction in the dialogue between the characters. That's something classic in Avengers. There's always a lot of dysfunction. And we see that here too. I mean, really, we got Rogue and some other ones thinking that Captain America shouldn't be leading the team. And then, out of all that, the voice of reason comes from Deadpool in this one. Yeah, Deadpool's the voice of reason. Holy cow. At a time when mutant and human relationships are in the toilet. Sort of like our world right now, the Uncanny Avengers have run smack into the new Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and folks, let me tell you, they came here to beat up Avengers and X-Men and chew gum. And they're all out of gum. Wake up, a new romance that will make readers froth from the mouths, it says. Plus, Ben Urich, always the mark of quality in an important Marvel comic. We still don't know the identity of that character in this issue, so we're not going to get that, but we got a good amount of action. The art, as it was decent, could have been a little better, but really was a fun issue to read. All right, now for my controversial number 1 pick. Woo, this one has been stirring the pot of people lately, and that's Captain America number 1. I gave it's got a 128 out of 134 with a 4.1 average rating on League of Comics Geeks. I gave it an 8.5. Yeah, I know it's controversial. Now, let me get into the creators and give a little bit of the synopsis of this story and why it's controversial and my thoughts on it. Writer J. Michael Straczynski, artist Jesus Sayas, which I butchered the name. Anyway, sorry about that. What future awaits the man out of time? Decades ago, Steve Rogers changed the world forever. Now, powerful and insidious forces are assembling to ensure he never does it again. Past, present, and future collides as the man out of time reckons with an existential threat, determined to set the world on a darker path at any cost. Now, here's the thing here, all right? I really appreciate and enjoy how the writer remembers Captain America's skill with the motorcycle right off the bat. We don't see a lot of that. Captain America is very skilled with motorcycle riding. That's not the controversial part, by the way. And we see it here. I love it when we see a character, writer that understands the character. Solid art in this issue as well. But here is the controversial part, is that Steve Rogers shows the value of capitalism. We have some people that are against this because they think he's a uber liberal, which I've never agreed with. Captain America is based on his beliefs on the foundations of the American principles, which means capitalism is one of those. But then we got some people complaining that what Captain America is doing with that capitalism. I disagree completely. Just because somebody's capitalistic doesn't mean they're greedy or don't care about others. That's a big misconception and argument in today's day and age. I'm not saying there isn't some greed. Absolutely. I think there is a lot of greed, and it goes both ways. Think about this. People that expect everything to be given to them and do nothing for it, how are they not greedy? Think about that. Captain America bought the apartment complex that he's living in, that his mother lived in, and he's fixing it up It makes perfect sense. It's a great capitalistic move, showing the value of capitalism and what it can do to your local area. Instead of having it tore down and become something else, he's creating value. He's creating jobs in this issue as well, as he was allowed and able to do that because of his position. He would have not been able to help that person that helped him in the issue, saving him. He returned the favor and helped them. This is what Captain America is about. The opportunity. Providing opportunity, not guaranteed outcomes, but the opportunity. He lives the values of the United States. So I can see why people on both sides might get a little butthurt if they don't truly think about the fundamentals. But that's the thing I've always loved about Captain America. I believe in being capitalistic as well as helping others, and I do both the best that I can. I really like this issue. It shows that Steve also valued his parents. Think about that. In a time today where it seems like every issue of every book or every TV show, the parents are idiots or something to blame the parents, Captain America shows his value and care for his parents and appreciation for them in this issue. I really like that. On top of that, this might be one of the reasons some uber liberals, and I'm not saying all liberals, I'm talking the super far over, okay? Same with the capitalistic ones that get super far, get angry too. Cap shows the value of hard work in this. He does. You see, he's working hard. And he also shows that the opportunities, taking opportunities, not handouts. They show it back in his youth on how he took the opportunities that are available and worked hard. Rather than complaining about those opportunities, he's making the most of them to make something for himself. We see that in his youth, and we see how that impacts him as an adult. And I think this is fantastic writing for Captain America, and I hope it continues like this. This is the best Captain America, I think, that I've read in a long time. So once again, Captain America isn't about everybody getting everything for free. He's about equal opportunity. He's always been one for working hard. I get hit a lot by people think that Captain America is an uber leftist. He's not. He's not an uber right wing either. He's more of a centrist that takes values from both because he believes in the fundamentals of the United States. That's the kicker right there. And honestly, I believe that does lean more conservative. There's a nasty take on things that if you are conservative, that you don't care about others. And that may be right for some people, but I'm telling you from my personal experience, it's not near right for most. We often have the same goals and just different beliefs on how to get there. But that's my soapbox. And I really loved this issue, and I thought it did a great job of displaying what makes Captain America great. Bravo, Straczynski. But what are your thoughts? Am I wrong? Are you pissed at me now because I made a judgment call on something like this? This is an issue I don't think you can skip over those political things with. Captain America is one of those few characters I think does dive more in political things and probably should if handled properly. And that's the problem. We've gotten a lot in the past that was all skewed from one perspective of tunnel vision rather than what really is Captain America. What really does he stand for? And we can really start to get an understanding of that by reading the series as well as looking who wrote him originally, created the character. And I think it's pretty amazing, well done job here. Thank you, everybody, for taking time to watch this video. Like, subscribe if you don't mind. Hit that notification bell. I appreciate all you. Would love to hear your thoughts down below. Until next time, be blessed and take care.